every single day is the Olympics. Pretty much, the Olympics is just another day of training in a way. Like, you can't really let the Olympics or any of the big competitions get to you. It's just another day of training. I kind of feel like that visualization is one of the most important things in diving, especially as you get to the higher levels. Because as you're younger, it's just repetition. It's just doing the actual dive and getting those reps in. But then as you get older, it's less about the dives and more about visualizing the dive and actually doing it well. To me, I don't care where I come. As long as I enjoy the competition and as long as I gave it my all on the day and the months prior, that's all that matters to me. And the one thing that I love about diving is the fact that you have to be consistent, because it's extremely hard to do 6 dives and have every single one of those dives be an 8.5, 9 each. Kind of just want the people that are coming under me to just enjoy the sport. That's kind of all I want. If you're not enjoying the sport, why are you doing it,
That's so well said. Welcome back to the M26 Fit podcast. I'm your host, Magnus Olson, and today's extra special as I'm joined by Olympic legend Duncan Armstrong as my co-host. Our next guest is one of Australia's rising bright stars, Cassiel Rousseau. As a kid, he did aerobatic gymnastic, featured on Australians Got Talent before conquering his fear of heights on the diving board. Cassie's journey has been nothing short of remarkable. In just a few short years, he's gone from Olympic finalist in Tokyo to Commonwealth Games gold medalist to making history as Australia's first ever world champion on the 10-metre platform. Now fresh from Paris 24, he's chasing legacy, balance and purpose, both in the water and in life. Duncan, Cass, welcome to the podcast. Let's dive in, literally.
Good to be here. Thanks for having me.
Now, Cass, you're one of 7 kids. Yeah. You're a twin, and I hear your grandfather was a bit of an Olympic legend, winning gold in the cycling back in 56. Is that right?
Yeah, 56. Yeah. Yeah, one of 7, same mum and dad. So I'm a twin. There's also triplets above me, and then also 2 singles. And yeah, it's a big family. So
2 singles. How did they miss out?
Well, the first one didn't miss out. He was the first one to get popped out, but they actually have the same birthday as well. So not really missing out on too much, yeah.
That's an awesome effort by your parents.
Yeah, you could say that, yeah.
What was home life like? Because as tumblers and gymnasts and stuff like that, who's the most talented out of the 7?
I don't know. I can't really pick one person, because I feel like we're all kind of talented in our own different ways. Me, more sporty. There's some academics. There's some that really enjoy life. There's, I feel like we have a very good range of talents in the family. So
what's that code for? Really enjoy life.
Well, I mean, I don't know. They just love life. I don't know. Yeah. We all know.
Not so focused.
I don't know. Embraces everything which come to them, which I kind of envy.
Well, you two have something similar. You've got strong European heritage, right?
Yes.
Like your mum's French, Sweden, now in Australia. What role did your grandfather play? He came down here in 56. He won the sprint cycling gold medal for France on the track in the velodrome, 1956, iconic Olympics for Australia. Did he fall in love with Australia at that point, or was it just a quirky thing that your mum married in Australia?
No, it was, I kind of feel like, I don't really know the full story, but I know for my grandparents it was pretty hard living in France at the time. So then my grandma and mum moved to Australia. And then just kind of set up life here. And then while my grandfather stayed in France because he was pretty sick at the time. And then, ever since then, Mum just built a life and kind of tried to keep the French heritage in Australia with everyone that she kept popping out. And that's pretty much it.
Who was the greatest influence in your life when you were growing up? Was anybody in particular that you thought you really looked up to? And then the next part of that, who was your greatest supporter?
In terms of role models, when I was in acrobatics, there was this one guy called Jake. He was kind of my best friend, and he was 10 years older than me. So we had a men's 4, and then we would just keep competing internationally and nationally and everything. And I kind of feel like the other 2 people that were in the squad were pretty much exactly what I was saying before, just loving life. They like to party, they do this, do that, not the greatest influences, but Jake was just always so grounded, and he was just such a good person that I always just looked up to be like him. And I'm always very thankful that, you know, he was always there when I was traveling, to kind of keep me in check in a way. And just to have like somebody like that to kind of look up to, just, I feel like made me a good person as well, which was just like, yeah, amazing. Yeah.
So is that part of the MO? You're number 4 or 5 in your family, from a big family. So do you try to build family wherever you go? Kind of looking at the 4 in gymnastics?
Damn, that's a great question and a good insight. I don't know, but I do really feel like that I've been extremely lucky with the people that I've been connected with. And I just kind of feel like that they've kind of all made me who I am today. But coming back to whether or not do I look for family? Yeah, no, I do feel like I do. I kind of really value having a good support system of good people. So, yeah.
Magnus, who do you take after you, mum or dad, in terms of your competitive spirit?
Oh, definitely. Oh, out of... I don't know. They're both kind of competitive in their own way. Dad's a lot more relaxed, a lot more laid back, a lot more chill. Mum can get a bit fiery sometimes, so I'll definitely say mum, actually, yeah. Yeah.
Do you still suffer from middle child syndrome?
Nah, there wasn't any of, like, older child, middle child, whatever. It was just, I don't know, just a bit chaotic when we were younger.
What about, so obviously you're a pretty handy gymnast. What was the trigger that led to the transition into diving?
Well, as I said before, mum's a very fiery person. There's never, when we were younger, there was never ever saying no to her. And I was getting too big and too heavy to be an acrobat, to be flown.
Sorry, let's just put that in context. So as a listener out there, what's deemed to be too heavy to be able to be a successful gymnast?
To be a successful acrobat, you do have to be light, unless you have like the strongest bases in the world to throw you. But it's pretty much where you can't really do the skills at the top of the like game because you can't get thrown high enough, or you're just too heavy to hold, and et cetera, et cetera.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, you were going on diving. Major transition.
Yeah, so got too heavy. I didn't really know what to do at that point. I didn't want to become a base and throw people. And then my sister, she was trialing for diving.
Elodie?
Ocean. Yeah, the youngest one. Yeah, she was doing a trial day for diving because we're all pretty sporty, and she was doing acrobatics as well. And mum just kind of got me out of bed. I'm pretty sure I just came back from China, a World Games, which was like the biggest comp that you can do as an acrobat. So it's like Olympic Games, but non-Olympic sports. So I just came back in the evening, and then it was like 4 a.m. for diving training. So mum just got me up out of bed. I kept saying no. I was kicking and screaming, and mum just kind of ripped me out, and that was how I started diving.
Now, I've actually been to the Chandler pool. I think I was about 15 at the time, and I was jumping off the metre springboard, and then I migrated up to the 3 metre springboard. I remember looking up at the 10 metre and went like, it's not that high. And I learnt very quickly that it's a lot higher after you climb up. What was that like for you the first time you stood up on that 10 metre platform?
It is pretty much exactly just how you explained it. Because that's exactly what I tell everybody. I'm like, dude, I'm standing here looking at the 10 meter, and I'm like, this is going to be so easy. I can do this, I can do that. I can, I just did not think that it would be as high when you're actually standing up there. The 3, you go up to 3 meter, then 5 meter, and then 7 meter. Once you're on the 7 meter, you like kind of have to take a step back, and you just, I don't know, this big, like, kind of like negative almost energy just kind of like fills you because of how high it seems and is. And then that's when you start to get, just like a big fear of heights, even before going to the 10 meter. And then obviously going to the 10 meter, that's just, yeah. I didn't jump off the 10 meter when we were going to jump off for the first time, because I do have a fear of heights. It's just completely different standing up there compared to standing below on the floor deck.
How'd you get over your fear of height?
Well, I'm not over my fear of heights, but I'm over the fear of 10 meter. And that is because of how confident I am in the air to actually know where I am. So like if something does go wrong, if I slip, if I do this, do that, I will know that I can land on my head or my feet. And landing on your head is not bad in the water. That's what you want to do, obviously, in diving.
Wasn't what I wanted to do. I was down a pencil, mate, straight down.
Oh, yeah, no, that's the worst. Even that sometimes still scares me, pencil dives, because it's so hard to control your body. Just straight, yeah. But yeah,
You, Duncan, like you're a swimmer, but have you ever jumped off the 10 metre?
Yeah, mate, I'm a boy from Rockhampton, and we had a 10-metre board and a 5-metre board at the Rocky Pool. So we were at the Rocky Pool all the time. And so all the big miners would come to town and do front flips and back flips off the 10, and all the little kids, because they'd say, hold the 5, and they'd go, and then they go, hold the 10, off the 5. So, yeah, some of my earliest memories are at the diving pool in Rocky. And but it's dangerous, mate. There's international divers every year that almost kill themselves.
Yeah.
Like I was at Chandler Pool when Nathan Mead, unfortunately, had that awful accident and died at the pool that day. Yeah, we were all there with the Laurie Lawrence swim team, and it was, it's imprinted on my memory because Nathan Mead was a Commonwealth Games champion and, competed for Australia. And one afternoon it all went wrong and he slapped his head on the 10-metre tower coming through. And so do you think about that?
No. And it can get very dangerous because if you hit your head on the concrete, you'll get knocked out and then there's still, 9 meters to go to the water. And hitting the water at that speed, I think you're traveling at like 67 k's an hour. The water just feels like concrete as well. So you can get split skin. There's lots of concussions. So it is a dangerous sport, but you do lots and lots of basics when you're younger to kind of, let you know where you are in the air. But it still happens. People hit their heads on the springboard, on the concrete, and it is scary.
There's a lot of courage. We're away one time with the Australian swim team, and the divers were with us. We were at a Commonwealth Games or World Champs, and there's always been a little bit of a beef between the glamour divers up there, barely getting wet, and all the people in the pool ploughing up and down doing meaningless laps. So there's always a bit of a beef between the glamour pusses and the rest of us. And I remember we're at the breakfast table in the food hall, and Michael Murphy was there. Oh yeah, and Michael Murphy is one of our great blokes and great divers. And I think one of the sprinters said something to him, like Darren Lang or something, said something about the divers. And Michael Murphy gets up and goes, hey, listen, all your swimmers, I might take like 25 hours to do a 1,500 metres freestyle, but I dare any of you to come up on the 10-metre tower and just jump off, let alone do a handstand on what I do.
Yep.
And, man, we just shut up and ate our breakfast.
Yeah.
Because it was such a good stitch-up. It was really, really – and I remember sitting there going, oh, he's right.
So can you tell us what goes through your mind, like 60 seconds before you're about to do a dive, not just in training but in competition? Is there something, a process or a routine that you go through?
Not really. I do know other divers have like a very regimented process before they do their dive, but I like to think about the process of what happens beforehand, and beforehand being like the weeks and the months that have led up to that single dive that I have to do. Because if in training, my dives are always consistently 8s, 8.5s, 9s. In competition, there's no reason why it shouldn't be, unless, psychologically you do get affected. So if you have your kind of brain set up in a way that you can compete, it's literally just a psychological comp, because everyone in the top of the game is, physically all there. They can do the dives and they can do the dives well, but it's who can do the actual dive on that day. So coming back to the question, like 60 seconds beforehand, I'm just kind of feeling the confidence, knowing that, I can do this dive very well and I will do the dive very well, if that makes sense.
Yeah. It's interesting you say that, because I've heard some athletes in the past, and what goes through their mind, they just to relax themselves, they just go through, it's exactly the same as training.
Yeah.
So when you've got, like you said, that mindset that all they're focusing on is it's just like training.
Exactly, yeah. And there's a saying that everybody says, it's like every single day is the Olympics. Pretty much, the Olympics is just another day of training in a way. Like you can't really let the Olympics or any of the big competitions get to you. It's just another day of training.
You mentioned psychologically, and you happen to be studying that at the moment too. Yeah. Tell us about that, and is that actually helping in your sport?
Good question, and I hate getting that question because the answer is no. I don't really connect the two. I just kind of find it fascinating learning about the brain and how it kind of shapes us, and like how it kind of like shapes us about who we are and what can it do and all that kind of stuff and behavior. I don't know, like I say it doesn't do anything for me, but I am very confident and I know what to do when I'm competing or when negative kind of thoughts and feelings come my way during comp. So like maybe subconsciously like yes, but I never go, oh, I can use what I've studied for this. Well, not for the time being anyway. Yeah.
What about you, Duncan? When you were in your, I guess, prime, was there any mental, we're going back a little bit of distance, I guess, in time, but is that something that you...
100 years.
36.
Yeah.
Close.
So from a training model perspective, has things changed a lot?
No, what Cassiel's talking about there more than anything else is how to keep your temperament in control, because it's not training. You've waited 4 years for the Olympic Games. You're going to get on the tower against, the world's best, and everyone's got the same opportunity window, and it doesn't open again for 4 years. So what you have to do is train yourself to basically have a very bland day.
Yep.
You're never going to get too outrageously hyped, and you're not going to drop anywhere lower than you need to. So you exist in this band of mental activity. And, things can go horribly wrong and you just don't address it. You just basically go, your car gets stolen. You just don't feel it. You train yourself not to feel it. And so you pour everything into your performance, everything into your pre-post performance. And so you kind of really vanilla. You're really like, you're not really into anything, but you're into everything that's important. And for Cass, I can't imagine my race took 1 minute and 47 seconds. And
roughly.
No, 0.25 for the Lord. Well, let me tell you all about it. But Cass, from the time you leave the tower to in the water is what?
It's like 1.6 seconds.
So his exam every 4 years is 1.6 seconds, which is about 9 to 12 times or something for the whole comp.
Yeah.
So he's barely hitting 15 seconds of performance, right? It's all performance. Don't get me wrong. I'm not chipping you about that. Okay. But you think about that. He's got 15 seconds tops every 4 years, right? My race was a luxury compared to that. Under 2 minutes, fantastic. So the Olympics demands this really, really interesting intensity. And you go from sport to sport to sport to sport and you break it all down because this guy is operating 10 times faster than Usain Bolt. Same gold medal.
Yeah.
It's amazing, isn't it?
It puts it in perspective. I guess it gives you then less time for mistakes. And it's the same with an Olympic sprinter compared to someone who runs a marathon. Like you can afford to have a poor half K or a poor little section. But when you're in that milliseconds, it's going to determine. What's a typical training day look like for you physically? And I'm also intrigued whether you do any consistent mental training and what that looks like.
Yeah, so when it comes to mental training, in my younger days I didn't do anything in terms of that, but now I am kind of focusing on the mental side more. Typical day for me is I wake up, I walk my dog. So that's about 4 or 5 a.m. just to make sure it doesn't, wreck the house when I'm away.
What sort of dog have you got?
A Labrador, a black lab. Yeah, he's the best. And then
what's his name?
Knox.
He's watching.
Yeah. Okay, Knox.
That's it.
Nah. Yeah, so then that's 4 or 5 a.m. and then I will leave to go to training at about 5. And then throughout the week we do 3 gym sessions and the rest is dry land and water. So dryland is like springboards and platforms into the pit, onto the mat, and all that kind of stuff with conditioning sprinkled on top of that, and then water after that. So it's typically around 2.5 hours each session, and I'll do 2 sessions a day, 6 days a week. So it's extremely full on.
Wow.
Yeah.
Your dryland work. What's that about? Because everyone watching this, listening to this would be like, isn't it just diving into the dryland work? What's it for? Is it for core? Is it for strength? Is it for mental? What is it for?
It's for all of the above, core, mental strength, and it's especially good for the younger kids because we have harnesses and we have foam pits, so they can do the dives to their feet numerous times before they go in the water and do it on the 10 meter. Just so they know where they are in the air. And even I have to keep it up as well. I have to keep doing belt work and harness work and do my dives in dry land so I'm mentally prepared in the water. So it's just kind of preparing you for the water.
So it's just imprinting?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's all diving is.
And what about from a technological perspective? There's a lot of sports now, they're using a lot of wearables. Do you do much what about video work? Is your coach taking you through that? You sit down and do any reviews of that to try and understand where you could improve?
Mm-hmm. So in diving, video work is hugely important because obviously it's really hard to do a dive, feel the dive, and then get the feedback from the coach. Because sometimes like I'll feel like I'll do a good entry and then my coach will say, no, you had a big bomb. And I'll be like, what the hell? Like I thought I had a good entry. So it's really important and good to kind of reflect on video and see why I felt and know what to kind of change. And as you kind of get older and as you get better at diving, you can almost kind of coach yourself with the video. So at the moment, I'm kind of doing my dive. I watch the dive. No, before that, I'm in the water and I'm telling or kind of like coaching myself in a way and saying like, oh, this is what happened in this dive. And then I'll get out of the water, I'll see the video, and then I will kind of see if I'm right or I'm wrong, and then coach myself from that video and then listen to my coach. And then he'll give me the points and I will not argue with him, but like, I'll be like, okay, that makes sense and I agree, or that's not what I felt. Can we have another look at it? And we'll just kind of like go back and forth with that.
Do you do much are you a visualizer? Is that something that you sit there and you picture the dive in your mind before you do it?
Yeah. Many, many times. I kind of feel like that visualization is one of the most important things in diving, especially as you get to the higher levels. Because as you're younger, it's just repetition. It's just doing the actual dive and getting those reps in. But then as you get older, it's less about the dives and more about visualizing the dive and actually doing it well. So like if you're younger, you'll do like 10 dives on 10 meter of one dive. But as you get older, you want to do like 3 or 4 really, really good dives because it's a lot harder on the body. So it's just kind of like, I don't know. Yeah, if that makes sense.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's one of the most purest sport. When you look at your gear.
Oh, yeah.
And you look at the competition gear, togs, bathers, swimsuit. That's it.
Yeah.
And it's never changed.
No.
It's one of those incredible sports where you're totally alone.
Mm.
No engine, no wheels, no rowboat, no oar, no goggles, no cap. You boil it all the way down to man on man.
Yeah.
You can't blame the gear.
No. But because you think about the purest of sports that never changed, diving's it.
It's a great way of looking at it.
Yeah, I've never thought about it like that. Yeah.
It's amazing.
Dude, like in swimming, like you can get changed suits and the suits actually help you. And
I think we took a really bad turn in 2007 when we got the esky suits and they all float.
Yeah.
And then so we've peeled them back to this suit that it's still $600. So you're sort of like, who's got $600? But the person beside you, if they had to, they've got an advantage.
Yep.
So they took the purity out of it a little bit. We should just go back to very, very small bathers like all the divers do. The divers, and it's cracking up most of the time at the back.
Yeah.
So, but it's the purest of pure sports.
Also, next, I would like to know a little bit about from a nutritional aspect. Are you big?
Oh boy, not at all. Unless there's any kids watching it, I'm huge on nutrition. But I don't know, not really. Obviously, I take it seriously. And now that I'm kind of like taking the sport on my own, yes. But like in a way, I like to have fun. I like to enjoy myself. I like to eat what I enjoy eating. And obviously that just, I don't know, like in diving, like I feel like that I dive best when I feel best. And so like I can kind of eat whatever I want and do whatever I want as long as I feel good. But obviously I feel good isn't, I'm going to let myself go. I'm not going to train, yada, 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 yada. It's just kind of knowing what to do to make myself feel good.
I think, Duncan, at 24, I could probably remember I could eat a fair bit if I wanted as well, and that has changed, let me tell you.
I'm starting to feel it a little bit, so cracking on.
Getting a muffin top?
Getting a muffin top, getting there. Yeah, getting there.
In diving, there's nowhere to hide with that kind of thing.
Exactly.
You're either in shape or you're not in shape.
Yeah, which is obviously like very unhealthy when you're, not unhealthy, but like can be unhealthy when you're younger. But it is very revealing being a diver, especially in front of so many people. And After I came back from the Olympics, I had like 3 or 4 months off, and I was back in the pool, and huge muffin top, big belly, you know, small legs. It was embarrassing. And I've never, I don't know, like it just makes me feel so horrible about myself, just like feeling like that, and then knowing that like people are looking at me like that, thinking that this like Olympian, you know, look at this guy, he's so fat, like yeah, it's hard.
It must have been embarrassing then when you're sitting there looking at the video of yourself as well.
No, exactly. You're making big bombs and wondering why I'm making big bombs. It's because you got that big belly. What are you doing? Yeah.
So talk us through 2023 is when you won your first gold medal at the World. Is that correct?
Yeah, first ever Australian to win a gold medal at a World Championships.
Yep.
Huge achievement. Probably one of my proudest achievements as well, because in the sport of diving, it's always China number 1, China number 2, and then almost like a fight for third. And that fight for third is always like Ukraine, Japan, GB. The list goes on. Like anyone can get third, and it's just like an extremely competitive comp, but like number 1, number 2, always going to be China. So as I was doing my prelims, I did it very well, and I was in a very good form, physically and mentally. And as I was doing the prelims, I ended up coming, I think it was 2nd or 3rd, but I beat one of the Chinese boys, and I was like, that to me was just like insane in itself, having to beat someone who's, you know, from China, because obviously they are very dominant. And then that was already like an incredible achievement for myself. And then as we got onto the semis, again, I came 2nd, and this time I was splitting the Chinese, which is like the worst position that you can be in. So it was China, me, then China. So coming into the final, it will be from 12th to 4th. It will go in that order, and then it will be China, then me, then China. So having to go after China and before China is just like the air is just so thick when you're there. So it's just like an incredible feeling.
Break that down a little bit. Why is that? Because they're going to come out and get a great score. You got to match that score.
Yeah.
Someone coming straight behind you that could beat your score.
Exactly. And it's very important as well, because the judging as well, when someone does a not very good dive and you go after them, your dive can look a little bit better. Right. So you'll kind of tend to get marked maybe like a little bit higher. And then if someone does like a really good dive before you, it feels, and it might be like a little bit harder you do have to do like a really good dive. Otherwise you're going to get completely like shat on when it comes to like judging. So being before China, they always do good dives. So I kind of have to match that / do it better. And then being after China just meant that because I'm not as good averagely from that Chinaman, he is going to get better marks because I'm not as good as him. So I'm making him look better. So it is probably the worst position to be in. And the judging at that comp was maybe not the best that it has been. And and you would see like the Chinese boys before me getting a certain score for a certain dive, and then I would do the dive better, but then my scores would be like the same as him. And then that's when the crowd started to get behind me, and they started to boo the judges after the Chinaman's dive, and then boo the judges after my dive, or after anyone's dive that was better than the Chinese that wouldn't get as high scores. So that kind of like pushed me both mentally and logistically as well, like in terms of the judging, which made me like kind of top the Chinese in that comp. So yeah, I don't know, it was just amazing, like the feeling that you get when like you just not expected at all to come first, and all of a sudden you are. It's just incredible.
So at what precise moment did you know that you'd won the gold?
Oh, not until the very end, because anything can happen in diving.
So you had to wait? You had to wait for somebody else to potentially beat you?
Yeah.
Or you had the last dive and won it?
No, so it was the Chinese boy, and then it was me, and then I had to wait for the last Chinese boy to see what he was going to do and what scores he was going to get before knowing that I could win. And the way that the diving's like set up, when in the last round, the judges and the like officials that are doing like the displaying the scores, they will wait like hours upon hours to bloody put those scores up, or it feels like at least. So you're just waiting there at the bottom of the pool, just waiting for your scores, hoping that, you know, it's going to be higher than the previous person's. And that feeling is just horrible. But once they put up the scores for mine and seeing the 9s and 9.5s, that like kind of like ecstasy kind of feeling is just like incredible. Just like seeing your name go from like 8th or 9th because you haven't gone yet to 1st, that's just incredible. Yeah.
And then the Chinese guy,
and then
he couldn't match you. And so,
exactly.
So you're sitting in the hot tub like all the divers do.
Yeah.
And you're just watching your name remain at the top.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Feel?
Amazing feeling. Yeah, incredible. Nothing ever could replicate the feeling that I got from that comp.
What was the first thing that went through your mind?
What the fuck? Like what the actual heck? Like I just like couldn't believe it. I had no words at all, both in my head and just I don't know. Like even thinking about it now, I have no words. No, it was just incredible.
What about the dais? Take us to the dais in Fukuoka.
The
dais when you're getting up and getting your gold medal on the top of the podium.
Yeah, even that wasn't like I'm just starting to get like the feelings as well, just like thinking about it. I remember all my teammates just standing there singing the national anthem, and even like seeing the national anthem in that event, Australian national anthem that's never been played. It's just words just can't explain it. It was incredible.
And then you did it again earlier this year.
Yeah, and then we did it again. Backed it up, which obviously is going to be extremely hard for another person to do that.
Well done.
Yeah, it was again, unexpected, but this year just felt a lot different in a way that I knew I had it in me. So it was a little bit different. So yeah.
How different?
Yeah, exactly.
Long story short, 2023, amazing year, physically and mentally. 2024, horrible year, physically and mentally. And then I kind of switched it up and kind of took the sport on my own. And then this year, both mentally and physically, I got a lot better and a lot more healthier and a lot more confident. So going into the comp, I was a lot more confident in a way. Yeah.
Did you do the same dive?
Yeah, the exact same dives. It's always going to be the exact same dives.
It must be difficult because when you had the fairy tale in Fukuoka 2023, go to Paris, do brilliantly there again. It must be hard to sort of replicate the magic when you've done it. Like, as you said, you're stronger, you're smarter, you're fitter, you're better.
Yeah.
But there's so much more at risk there because you're the reigning champion.
Nah, not really. Not for me.
You didn't blamed any of that?
Nah.
Because you went there and said, you know what, I'm a bit better, let's go.
Yeah. I mean, like, I don't know, like, I kind of hate putting that pressure on myself. You know, world champion, did really well at the Olympics, 4th at the Olympics, I think it was, even though I didn't have the best year. To me, I don't care where I come. As long as I enjoy the competition and as long as I gave it my all on the day and the months prior, that's all that matters to me. That, like, doing a good comp where I feel very fulfilled in, that feels better than, maybe apart from 2023, but that feels better than the gold medal. Yeah.
One thing I have to say that all athletes that I've ever interviewed, they've got this inner belief that they've got in themselves. And how would you describe that for yourself and where do you draw your strength from?
Outside of the pool, I don't have an inner belief. But when it comes to doing the dive and competing, I become like very cocky internally. And to me, it's very healthy. And obviously it is healthy because it works. And I'm not, you know, it's never external. But, you know, the self-belief that I have when I compete or when I train is just extremely high. And it just makes me feel good to kind of like have and know.
I've heard it described sometimes that confidence comes from competence. So the more competent you are, the more confident you feel. And probably that gives you every right to be confident.
Yeah, no, that's a good saying. Because like obviously when you're not feeling as confident, especially in diving, that's when your dives are the least consistent. So putting in the work and putting in the numbers will obviously just make you more confident because the more you do it, the better you are at it. And the one thing that I love about diving is the fact that you have to be consistent because it's extremely hard to do 6 dives and have every single one of those dives be an 8.5, 9 each. So like there's always going to be like a dive in your list unless you're China or someone else that it's not going to be good.
That's the difference in the elite. You look at any sport, and like I follow Formula One, and it's just that 100th of a second. And you look at what's between first and 10th. It's incredible.
Yeah, yeah. Every single thing you do with your body in the air, so like your form, how high you jump, the entry as well, like it becomes very, very minuscule when you kind of like break everything down. And sometimes those are the things that will set you apart. Like I remember at the comp this year in Canada, I was fourth and the Ukrainian was third. And the points between him and me was 0.05. And in diving, that's just like absolutely nothing. Like you will see a singular toe be somewhat bent. And that's what will kind of make that kind of like jump. So yeah, very minuscule.
So what about your identity? How would you describe yourself out of the pool?
Rockstar.
Rockstar, yeah.
He's good. He's good.
Oh no. No.
Speaking of the tats, what's the significance behind that? And is there any particular reason or any standouts for you that you wanted to share?
Yeah, I got one of my grandfather recently, I guess, like a couple of weeks ago. But my left side of the body is like for important stuff, quote unquote important stuff. So like grandmother, Olympics, so a matching tattoo with like a bunch of friends. And then my grandfather, but then the right side, every different country I go to, I will get a different tattoo, almost like a souvenir. And it's a bit of fun as well.
You can get T-shirts, you know.
You can, but that's not as fun.
That's just you being you.
Yeah, exactly.
Keep
Yeah.
traveling.
Yeah.
You'll be covered.
Yeah, I mean, like, it could happen. Yeah. Yeah, but like now I'm not going to like many new countries.
Okay.
So it's slowed down a lot. But I haven't been to Malaysia, so I got one in Malaysia.
What about something that I know everybody struggles with is self-doubt? You don't seem to have had that at the minute. Has there been a significant event or what's been the lowest point, a big setback for you that you've had to really dig deep to get through?
Yeah, so this was 2024. It obviously coming back from 2023, such a high year. I like, especially after that high, when you come back after a comp like that, it is like one of the lowest lows that you can feel because of the adrenaline and just all the endorphins and everything that you get from traveling and winning. Coming back after that to almost nothing, like just being in my own house by myself, is just incredibly depressing. So coming after that, I was just like really unmotivated to do diving. I just won, obviously, the gold. And to me, I don't really care about winning in Olympics. Like the Olympics isn't like a big thing for me. I don't, it's hard to explain, but I'm not looking for medals. So coming after 2023, I was not motivated at all to dive. It was more so just a source of income, which was just like, to me, really depressing. And every single time I came into training, it just got worse and worse, and I just didn't really do anything about it for a very long time. And then to me, life just got a little bit worse because like I broke up with an ex, and that breakup wasn't the best breakup at all. And just like everything kind of just like tumbled down after Fukuoka. And like I was just like left feeling like, how could this happen in a way? Like, this was who I was like 2 months ago. How can it all change so quickly? And it just took it. 2024 was just hard when it came to diving. I wasn't working that hard. I was very lazy. I wasn't eating the best. And being on that Olympic stage, knowing that I possibly easily could have podiumed if I just put in the effort, was just an incredible gut-wrenching feeling. And then like even after that, like I think about, and I still have a lot more thinking to do, obviously. I'm very young, even young in the sport, but I was like, why does it hurt so much? After coming fourth at the Olympics, I told myself, I don't care if I get a medal. And then like I still kind of believe that, but like, why does it hurt so much that I didn't podium, you know? And there was lots of soul searching.
You could probably talk to this too a little bit, Duncan, because you had a similar experience when you came back, that those lows, that's very real, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. Like, I think that's just the human experience. You go to the Olympic Games, they make you feel very special. You know, there's only one of 10,000 athletes. You're one of 36 swimmers who get the tracksuit and everything gets thrown at you at the Olympic Games. It's this 3 weeks of never to be repeated activity in your life. And the sponsors, the village, the superstars, the sport, the adrenaline, and then you get detached like your coming home story, and then all of a sudden you're isolated from all the dopamine that the Olympic Games has served up, and you know it's 4 years. And so you sit there and going, well, what do I do now? How do I get on with life? So you ask these really big questions. You're not equipped to ask them because you're an athlete and that's all you are.
Yeah.
You know, so you're asking these big, profound questions. And if you don't have the setup right, you can really dip. And people, they call it the Olympic void. You come home from the games and you just enter this void. And depending on your family, friends, village around you, how long you spend in it.
Yeah.
And it can be, you know, people can spend years in it. So it is a thing. We're doing a lot better with transition athletes now, transitioning our athletes like Cass. He's so young. He's got so much life and so much energy. We have to do our due diligence and help him get to the next thing he's going to get to. But, you know, your story is common, but it's really, really difficult. It's your story, but it's not that uncommon. So we as ex-athletes and people with businesses have to take notice of that and make sure that we're there, you know, lending a hand, giving the nudge when it's required and when it's asked for to get you to the next stage. And then, you know, the sun comes out and you feel like yourself again and the dopamine levels sort of level out and, you know, you start doing something more meaningful and then, you know, all the systems come back on again and then you're away. But it's difficult. And we've got a religion for sport down here. So everybody in Australia makes you feel so special. You know, it's out of control, Dad.
Yeah.
The phone rings with everybody's great idea. And then all of a sudden the phone stops ringing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What does the word balance mean for you? That's probably the thing that I struggle most with my life in so many different areas. Is that something that you have any level of focus on?
Yeah, it's huge, especially now. So, like, especially after having, 2024, balance was one thing that I got right this year. Having diving and then work and then studies and then obviously a life outside of all that. And finding a balance between everything is hard to kind of do when you're so busy, but so fulfilling once you get right. It's just, if you don't have that balance, everything can just go to, complete shit just like that. So to me, if something like happens to go down, like if diving isn't doing so well, I know I have these kind of aspects of life to kind of fall back to, and kind of let this one, either put in the work to get, whatever's not working back up or just ditch it completely. Yeah.
I was taught the stumps of a house analogy really early on in my swimming career, that your life is like a house and it's got about 30 stumps under it. And if you keep knocking them out and just all you've got left is your swimming stump, it's only got to go off and the whole house crashes.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I really like that.
Great analogy.
Yeah. That well, what's a stump house these days? There's no such thing as a stump house.
Look at the building background, makes sense to me.
Yeah, exactly. And what you're talking about is done the difficult work to find your extra stumps. Now 2 or 3 can be off, and you're not losing anything. Yeah, because you're always constantly trying to get the stumps right again.
Yeah,
so it sounds like you got the level of consciousness and the level of awareness to be able to realise that, hang on a sec, there's a few stumps that aren't right, a bit out of alignment, and you're able to push that back in. Mate, legacy and impact. What's next for you? What sort of mark would you like to be leaving on the sport?
I don't know. I kind of just want the people that are coming under me to just enjoy the sport. That's kind of all I want. If you're not enjoying the sport, why are you doing it?
It's so well said.
Yeah. And also find your why. Because to me, like, it wasn't important to come first, second, or third. To me, it was all about enjoying myself and having fun. And the moment that I'm not having fun is probably the moment that I'm going to quit diving. Obviously, it's not like, I'm not having fun today, because obviously being an elite athlete is hard, and you're bound to have shit days. But, I just kind of want people to understand that you're going to reach the height of what you're doing if you're having fun. You kind of just need to enjoy what you're doing, if that makes sense. Yeah.
Makes a lot of sense. Before we jump into the quickfire questions, you got anything closing remarks, Duncan, before
No, it's just been a really inspiring chat, mate. I know I'm going to get into some funny questions in a minute, but your perspective on the intensity of what you do for a job, have fun, enjoy yourself, I think really fuels the intensity when you have to switch it on.
Yeah.
Like you're a great example of focusing on the important stuff. And if it's not that, then you're really going to be, handbrake off, relaxed, within reason.
Wisdom above his years.
Yeah, I think it really fuels your performance. I think in the intense world of that 1.6 seconds from when your feet leave the tower.
Yeah,
it's a credit to you, and I think it comes from your generalist background, from your tumbling, the circus thing. Australia's Got Talent, you're winning that at 11. And then into gymnastics and then into diving. So you get into it at 17. That generalist background with all that performance piece in front of audience where people are smiling and enjoying it. You really channel that. And it's a real inspiration. I think your legacy is going to be about that. To inspire kids to get into a sport even when they're as old as 17 and take everything that you've learned from other things into your performance. So, mate,
that's a good answer.
I love it.
I take that one.
I really love it. There's a lot of work getting done at the moment by psychologists into the generalist versus the specialist too early.
Yeah.
And you're a living, breathing example of bringing the intensity to the job at hand, but also being that generalist background and having that relaxed attitude to make sure that you're really prepped for it. So, mate, I got a lot out of that.
Because when I was trialing for diving, I actually didn't get in because they said that my arms weren't long enough. And Mum still has that email with the with the rejection of me not getting into diving. So
I didn't make it into the church choir because I couldn't sing, and I don't know if I'll go back and change it.
What, do you want to?
Yeah, there's some far gone cases.
Oh yeah.
No, I love the fact that you're being you, and I think that authenticity is what's coming out, and that's why you're successful, because you're not pretending to be anybody. Yeah. You're doing it because you love doing it. So well done. Quick 5 questions, mate. You ready to rip in?
There we go, son.
What makes you laugh?
My dog.
All-time favourite movie?
Good Will Hunting.
The biggest fear you've had to face outside the pool?
Biggest fear I've had to face outside of the pool? Social anxiety.
The one daily habit that's had the greatest impact in your life?
Mindfulness.
The most used app on your phone?
Instagram.
The hardest lesson you've had to learn?
Don't be a dick.
Favourite recovery ritual after an elite competition?
Having a beer.
What's harder, controlling the body mid-air or controlling the mind in self-doubt?
Both different.
A hidden talent no one knows about?
I can somewhat play the piano now.
A moment you felt completely at peace. When was it?
2 days ago on my motorbike.
One thing you've had to unlearn to step into your full potential?
Don't be a dick. Again.
If you had one message out there for anybody right now, what would it be?
Don't be a dick.
Sorry. Last question. Last question, mate. Finish this sentence. I believe.
You can do anything if you're having fun.
Yep. Yeah, very, very well said, mate.
Yep.
Thank you very much. It's been an absolute hoot having you.
No, thank you.
Love your energy.
Fun.
Love what you stand for.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks for tuning in to the M26 Fit podcast. If something landed with you today, share it with a mate, hit subscribe, and keep showing up. One day at a time, one rep at a time. Stay aligned, spirit, mind, body.